You're listening to the Coach's Journey podcast, exposing the struggles and celebrating the successes in the life of coaches who are action takers and creating authentic impact in today's world. Whether you're just starting out, expanding your reach, or exploding your impact, you're in the right place right now. Stay tuned and be sure to subscribe to this podcast. Now, here are your hosts of the Coach's Journey podcast.
And so today, we're going to talk about one of the two essential skill sets that you need to really have a robust, long-lasting, successful, joyful, any other adjectives you want to have, coaching career. And so
sustainable.
I was about
Yeah.
to say sustainable. Yeah.
Oh, I missed sustainable. All of those things, there's two skill sets that you need to have. One, we do a lot of conversation around in the Coach's Journey podcast and in our community and in the Facebook group, and it's around sales, because if nobody knows you exist, then it doesn't matter how good you are. But that's not what we're going to focus on today. We're going to focus on the second half, which is how good are you? Because that really matters. And that's what we're going to land on today. But first, still on the sales side, Faisal, can you share a little bit about a sales learning opportunity that's coming up? And if people are listening to this after the fact, you can still have access to us. Just reach out to us.
Yes, thank you, Sherry. So I'll just add it's marketing and sales, but in the coaching world, as we've talked about this over and over, sales is the area that becomes a lot of the focus for coaches initially in the beginning stages of their path, but marketing is a part of that. And a good frame for that, which I learned from Alex Hermosi, is that marketing is sales at a bigger level. It's just as simple as that. It's the same process, but you're doing it with masses.
Yeah,
That's why I'm so excited to spend time with you and Faisal right now, because this time I'll never get back is always really, really awesome and fun. And usually, I don't know about you, I usually learn something from the two of you. And like we have these amazing conversations about coaching that are real conversations with real coaches. And I love doing that. So that's why it's such a good use of our time today.
Yeah. So
And
hey,
serve other people too.
Yeah. So Daniel, why don't you kick us off with thinking about the coaching skill of just being a good coach? Like how has that looked for you as you kind of have progressed in your coaching journey?
That's a really, really broad question. And
before you jump in, Daniel, as well, can you also make a connection between how has that affected your coaching business while you're talking about this coaching skills?
Yeah, so I'll start the second question first. Like the acquisition of skill sets is like a really powerful part of any coaching business, because I think the most important link is the confidence. As you start to gain skill sets, you gain confidence. As you start to use those skill sets, you gain confidence. As you start to see clients being affected by those skill sets, you gain confidence. As you start to see renewals because of the skill sets that you utilize, and you gain confidence. And so confidence is probably the most important factor of how you become a good coach. You become good enough to become more confident, and you become more confident to become more good. And so there's a cycle, right, between your confidence and what you learn and your skill sets. And so like to me, like skill set acquisition, and I know also known as knowledge, wisdom, growth, is a really critical part of your coaching journey forever. Like you never will stop gaining skills, and I'm still gaining skills today. And some of the skills you gain actually don't have to be gained in the traditional, like, let's go get education, let's go take a course, let's go take a program. A lot of skills come through, you can get skills through a lot of different ways. I'm not saying certifications are bad. Certifications, you can get skills. I've gotten lots of skills through certifications, but my favorite way to get skills is through experience in life, like life experiences that are different, that are unique, that are challenging. Like travel, for example, will often increase your skill sets, increase your perspective on what's out there in the world. Because, for example, when you travel to another country and you see different ways of doing things, it opens your mind and allows you to get rid of some assumptions that you may have had around how you think and how everybody should think, like according to your bias and your assumptions. And so travel is just one example, but even going through challenging experiences in life, like adversity is a really powerful skill set creator, because you learn about adversity from a new perspective, because otherwise it wouldn't have been challenging for you. Like every adversity you go through challenges you to expand yourself and what's possible. And that is really one of the useful skills, of being able to like see your own adversity as a growth opportunity that you can use as a skill set in coaching, as an example. So there's so many other skill sets too, like, you know, like skill sets around the coaching process, like how to ask questions. There's skill sets around like specific areas of expertise, like business. There's specific areas of expertise, like, you know, if you're a leadership consultant or if you're a relationship consultant or whatever, like there's so many skill sets you could specialize in addition to all those personal growth skill sets. So like, it's hard to even like attack this question because there's so
I
many.
know.
I don't even know where to go.
So as you've been gaining your confidence, kind of as you described it, by doing it, getting feedback, seeing results, how did you see that then result in the growth of your actual business?
Well, I think at the beginning of my coaching career, I remember very clearly it was very hard to get clients to believe in me because I didn't quite believe in myself. I wasn't sure that I could make a difference for people. I had to, like, you know, prove that out in the field and use skill sets to actually help make a difference. And a lot of times early on, I wouldn't get renewals or people would stop early in the coaching. I mean, there's one client who like, I want to sign them up for 12 sessions. They said, well, I'll pay for half up front, half after 6. And I sent them the contract and I said, well, we make this one change, like that, you know, like there's like one minor change. I was like, yeah, but what the change meant was that like I could stop after 6. And they did stop after 6. Like it was all set up, like, because like I didn't have enough confidence. And the reason was I didn't know what my skills were. I didn't know for sure that I could help this person. And I was trying to take them through something I hadn't, you know, lived and practiced long enough. And so, yeah, that happened a lot. I got people who would do a session and wouldn't continue because they didn't believe that I had the skills to help them with their particular problems. Like a lot of times people need like general coaching across their whole holistic life, but a lot of the times they have very specific problems that they're focused on. Like I have a problem in my marriage, or I have a problem at work or with my team or something. And if I have the skills to be able to help them through that particular problem, that makes a huge difference in them buying the coaching. Right. And so if they're like, yeah, I'm really struggling with my wife, and I'm like, yeah, well, I don't have any experience in that, but I'm sure I can help you. That's not going to instill confidence as much as it is if I have a wife and I have gone through that exact problem and gained those skills, and I've coached people, or I've coached people through that very problem and had this result with them. That was really easy to explain how it's going to, you know, make a difference to the coaching. It helps with renewals, it helps with all those kinds of things because you can demonstrate that you actually have some skills around this area. I don't know if they answered the question.
You know,
Can I also make a connection between confidence and I love the thought process that Daniel went towards that. I mean, the thing that connects it all is likely the confidence with which you show up. And I have this frame for my clients that confidence has nothing to do with being right, because a lot of people think that if you're right, you're confident, or you will be confident if you're right. Like it's about right. It's actually a leadership skill set. Because we know this, that like take a group of people, and Joe Rogan, comedian, he talks about it, is like, if you're in a group of people and they didn't know anything better, they're stuck in a situation. If one person just got up and they were just confident, they didn't had no other information that the other ones, and they were confident, like, we're gonna do this and go there, the rest will probably follow along. That's just how human beings function, because it communicates to the rest of the group that, oh, this person has the certainty or the ability hidden behind whatever they're demonstrating that will help us move forward. Now, that person might not actually have that. So there is such a thing as fake confidence. But what we're talking about is authentic confidence, which comes with you doing the work.
yeah.
And so you don't need to pretend to be confident. You need to do the work to become confident, which can, so what happens? And that's why I ask this question from coaches a lot of times. I'm like, why do you think you're not promoting your business? Why do you think you're not reaching out to people? Why do you think you're not putting your content out there? Why do you think you're not talking to organizations or different entities to go speak to them about the thing? And they're like, well, I have some kind of fear and I'm stuck in some. I'm like, what if it's, yes, maybe that's part of the reason, but what if it is that you don't believe deep down that this is actually going to make any difference? And what if that's not because of general belief that you need to move, but what if that's because you don't have enough evidence that tells you that you can do this and you will give people results? And that evidence doesn't come from your mind. That evidence comes from other people giving you, which is also, by the way, the reality of how the market system works in this capitalistic world that we live in, that the market needs to give you feedback on your product and service. And when you get that, and you get that enough times, you don't need to worry about your own, like whether or not I will be able to do this. Actually, one last thing I want to share. Last night, actually, my wife asked me this question. It was very interesting. So she's been in the coaching world a couple of years, 2-3 years, and she's still in the beginning stages. Her skill sets are amazing, and I can see what kind of a difference it makes. But in terms of her confidence, she's still in the beginning stage. And she asked me a question. It's like, and coaches tend to have a couple of dynamics. One, they will either show up as a savior. Let me try to save this person with one session, or they feel like they didn't do anything for that person, even though they might have actually added value. She's like, how the hell do you deal with those two sides of him? I'm like, I actually do. And I thought about it for a second. I'm like, I had both of those sides in the beginning, and it would show up in different contexts. But this is what happens now. Now the focus is actually just to be present and show up, and I don't think about either one. I don't need to save a person, and I don't feel like I'm not going to add any value. It's actually because I can fully show up with the right intention, I have preparedness, and I have this experience, I don't actually think about any of that stuff. I just show up. And that makes a big, but the reason I can actually show up without thinking about all that stuff has to do with experience and the work that I've done, not because I'm kind of riling myself up to say that I am confident. Today, I'm going to show up as confident. Not that I'm saying that won't have an effect on you.
You're listening to the Coach's Journey podcast.